Welcome to the Midlife Rider Project. This is a place for riders who have lived a little and learned a lot. A place for honest reflection, lived experience, and listening for the wisdom that emerges as we ride through this second season of life. I'm really glad you found your way here. It's early January. The air is cold and crisp. It's still dark outside, and the barn is quiet in that way that only barns get. You walk in and flip on the lights, and one by one, all those beautiful faces appear, looking out at you over stall doors. Some look sleepy and some look hopeful, but most are already waiting for breakfast. There's that brief moment before the noise starts, before the waffles, knickers, and the sound of hooves shifting around in anticipation of breakfast. A lot of mornings, we're there in the barn before we've even eaten our own breakfast. Hair a mess, wearing an odd combination of pajamas and knee-high muck boots, doing what needs to be done before the rest of the world wakes up. Then the grain gets dumped, and suddenly the noise stops and everything is still again. Horses are munching quietly, and the barn is at peace with that deep, settled calm that feels good all the way down into your bones. Those moments are good for the soul and one of my favorite parts of the day. January comes with a lot of expectations attached to it. There's the whole new year, new you thing, new goals, and big declarations about changing things. And honestly, that's really not how it works for most of us anymore. We're in midlife. That means we know who we are. And yes, we've reinvented ourselves more than once, but not through New Year's resolutions. We became who we are through time, through showing up, through the dirt under our fingernails type of work, through loss, devotion, through staying with things when it would have been so much easier to quit. We've lived through a lot of Januaries by now. Sure, we still feel the excitement of something new beginning, but we also value deeply what is tried and true. And we know better than to throw away what works just because the calendar changed. New beginnings in midlife aren't usually accompanied by fireworks or champagne toasts at midnight. They come with no fanfare, often unannounced, and they arrive through patience, persistence, and paying attention. Horses just understand inhabiting the season you're in. They don't rush seasons. They don't pretend winter isn't winter. They just accept it for what it is without needing it to be anything else. This is wisdom we can borrow from them and apply it to our own lives. The same rhythm that lives in January, in midlife, is also in those early mornings in the barn. For so many of us, horses are an anchor, and the barn becomes a safe space, a place where we get to step away from the grind of everyday life, where we don't have to justify ourselves, where we can simply be who we are, exactly as we are on that day. That way of beginning again shows up for me this year with my mare. One of my own goals this year is simple, although perhaps not easy. I want my mare to be able to canter. You see, she's an older, gaited horse, and from what I can tell, she was never really taught to canter. So while there's no pressure or timeline here, And there's no sense of needing to make something happen right now. It's something we'll keep working toward with patience, persistence. I'll be listening to her, and I'll be listening to myself along the way. This goal definitely isn't fueled by New Year excitement or grand declarations. It's fueled by trust and partnership and by a willingness to keep doing the work. That feels very midlife to me. Many of us in midlife know this feeling that we get when January arrives again and we don't feel any sense of urgency that we used to. We've lived through enough beginnings to know that change doesn't start on a date. It starts anytime, often when no one is even watching or paying any attention. After enough years with horses, after enough winters and springs and summers that came and went, we begin to recognize something. The real work happens in ordinary moments, in routines that we return to, and in the way we keep showing up, even when nothing feels new or different, and progress is hard to see. Earlier in life, January could feel electric and exciting, full of plans, full of promises, and full of ideas about who we might become. And there's nothing wrong with that. But midlife carries a different kind of beginnings, shaped by experience and lessons learned along the way. We know now that excitement of a shiny new year fades away, but that steadiness, that carries us through. We know how much patience it takes to build trust with a horse, how much tuning in is required, how much time it takes to do it right the first time, and how much longer it takes to undo what was rushed. And somewhere along the way, we realize the same is true for ourselves. Many of us have carried a lot into this season of life. Years of responsibility, losses we did not plan for, bodies that don't respond the way they once did. And yet we're still here, still riding, still caring, and still listening. We are still doing. That's not nothing. So this January, we aren't reinventing ourselves. Instead, we'll recognize ourselves, notice what we've learned, what we no longer need to prove, what we're willing to move more slowly with now. There's a kind of confidence that comes from repetition, from doing the work year after year, from staying in relationship through seasons that were hard and seasons that were generous. Horses understand this kind of knowing. They don't measure progress by declarations. They measure it by consistency, by feel, by trust built over time. And maybe this January is an invitation to do the same, to stand where we are without rushing ahead, to honor what's already been earned, to allow this season to unfold without expecting it to look a certain way. If you're feeling different than you once did in January, that doesn't mean you've lost something, but it may mean you've gained discernment. And that's a pretty good place to begin. Just like those quiet moments in the barn before the day really begins, this time of year feels like a pause between chapters, an opportunity to take a moment, pull up a hay bale, and just be where we are and honor what we've lived. No reinvention theatrics required. Just recognizing how far we've come will do just fine. And if we need to, we can begin again. We're midlife riders. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated, I hope you'll join me again next week as we continue riding through this season together. Until then, take good care of yourself and your horse.